An engineer once warned that this house would collapse within 30 years. It didn't. Instead, it became one of the most photographed buildings in America, perched directly over a waterfall, defying almost everyone who said it couldn't be done. Why would an architect risk his own reputation on a house that experts said was doomed to fail? In 1935, businessman Edgar Kaufman hired architect Frank Lloyd Wright to design a weekend retreat in rural Pennsylvania. Kaufman expected a house with a view of the waterfall on his property. Wright had a different idea entirely. Why build near the waterfall when you could build on top of it? Wright designed the house so that its concrete terraces extended directly over the falling water, seeming to float above the stream below. He called it falling water. It would become the boldest expression of his entire career. The design relied on cantilevers, concrete slabs extending outward from a central support with nothing holding up the far end. Longer cantilevers create more dramatic space, but they also create more stress on the point where the slab meets its support. Wright's engineers ran the calculations and were alarmed. The cantilevers were pushed to what they considered an unsafe limit. One structural consultant recommended doubling the steel reinforcement in the concrete. Wright refused, insisting his design was sound. Construction proceeded with roughly double the requested steel added anyway, quietly, by contractors worried about liability, even with the extra reinforcement. Cracks began appearing in the concrete almost immediately after construction finished in 1937. Was Wright's genius also his greatest liability? For decades, the terraces continued to sag, millimeters at a time, pulled down by gravity the original design never fully accounted for. Kaufman's own engineers privately called the house structurally unsound. By the 1990s, the sagging had become severe enough that engineers measured the main terrace drooping nearly 7 inches from its original position. In 2002, a full restoration used post-tension steel cables threaded to the concrete to finally stabilize the structure Wright had pushed to its absolute limit. So was the original warning wrong, or just early? In a strange way, both. The house didn't collapse in 30 years, but also never stopped fighting the forces Wright dared to defy. Falling water survives today not because Wright's design was flawless, but because generations of engineers quietly caught what his ambition refused to admit. Sometimes the most celebrated buildings in the world aren't monuments to perfect engineering. They're monuments to how far a genius can push a good idea before reality has to step in and save it.